In this lesson, we will start to talk about loops, which are used to repeat blocks of code. There are several different types of loops. There's the do while, the while, and a couple of different types of for loops as well. Most of the time, these are used to iterate through a list. So the syntax for, we'll start with a do while, and the syntax for do while is do, and then you have your block of code. So this is going to execute your code block. And then again, if you see curly braces like this is a code block. And then while, and the while is going to be a condition. So because the do is before the while, what happens with this loop is that you will first run through your code, you get to the do, and you execute that block of code, and then you get to the while, and based on that condition, we'll determine whether or not you're going to execute this line of code again. And that creates the loop. Otherwise, if you don't meet the condition, then it'll do this once, and then it'll be done. So just as an example, let's say that I have a list of accounts. I'm going to call it account list. And we'll just take this from a query. We'll do select ID name from account. We'll keep the where clause out, and we'll just limit it to 10. And let's say I have an integer, x, and that equals to 0. And then we are going to do, and then there will be a while. And so in this one, I'll just be, let's just say we want to go through this, iterate through the account list, the full account list. And then we'll just print them out. So we'll do system.debug, and then account list. And I want to go through each one individually. So I'm going to use X for the syntax, and instead of the full one, we'll just get the name. And then I'll add a space, and we'll add the integer as well. So the integer will be acting as the index value for whichever record that we're going to want to be grabbing. And then what we can do is we can do x plus plus plus. So we're going to be incrementing every time that this block of code executes. We're going to be incrementing x by 1, which will then grab a different value from that list. And then what we can do is if we go x is less than, and the account list dot size, this will then be our condition. So as long as x is less than the account list size, it'll be repeating, and we'll be looping through, and we'll be grabbing each record from that list. Now we can run that and see. Oh, I have a typo for system. There we go. And as we can see now, we have each record, so updated account, Apex tutorial account, and then we see it incrementing the integer by 1 each time. And so it's going through, and again, because we're starting at 0, which is why the integer x is at 0, it'll get the first index from that list all the way to the end of that list. And then, just to confirm that if we have it be x greater than, x is never going to, because x is starting out at 0, it's going to go through the do while loop, it's going to execute it once, x at the end will be 1, so it will never be greater than the account list size. So it should only be running once. And as we can see within the debug, it only went through it once. So that's one way to use a loop with the do while loop. There's other methods that we'll be going through and different variations on how we can loop through lists as well.